Today's guest is T.Aubrey. He's a videographer and music video director who's been posting his work online since 2014. Since then, he's produced hundreds of music videos, earning almost 15 million views on his YouTube channel alone. With this following, Aubrey's influence expanded into the emo rap and punk scene, where he became known for collaborating with popular artist SpaceMan Zack. We spoke about everything from the future of music videos, crazy requests he's had from clients, and advice for people looking to start out in the social media industry. Now, with all that being said, coming to you from my remote studio, I hope you enjoy the interview. Aubrey, welcome back to the show. So we actually recorded this episode last week, but tragically the video file got corrupted. However, Aubrey kindly agreed to come back on. So this is take two, an all-new interview, all new questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on again.
Absolutely.
So let's get right into it. So last time you were on, we spoke about the role of a music video and how it's changed over the years, and how it went from being a necessary part of an artist's development to now being more supplemental. And in that conversation, we were saying that something like a trendy TikTok video generally offers more in terms of a song's discovery. What do you think it is exactly that a TikTok style video offers that a music video doesn't?
That's a good question. To be completely honest, not a lot. I think it kind of offers the same thing. I think that the discovery part just comes more from like the way the algorithms work on like IG Reels and TikToks. I mean, I think technically like you can maybe, I don't know. They maybe feel a little more personal. Like they don't feel like a big production thing or something that's been like planned to be viewed in like I don't know, the same way.
Edited in a certain way, maybe.
Yeah, they're more like a little more raw, maybe. But I feel like in terms of discovery, really the main thing is just how the algorithms work. Is like you can literally get shown to a bunch of random people, whereas like if you're just putting a music video out on like YouTube, it's harder to like break into that algorithm and be shown to like new people, whereas TikTok, like I said, it's just you're scrolling all day. So
and you were sort of talking about how you would take clips or moments from music videos that you've worked on and try uploading them to TikTok or to YouTube Shorts or whatever. What has sort of been your, I guess, experience doing that?
It's been hit or miss, to be honest. I think it's hard to take stuff. Well, so if you take like a short version of a music video that's cut like the music video, I feel like those don't really perform well. I feel like what does perform better is like taking one shots from the video. So instead of having a bunch of cuts, just like taking scenes from the music video, but without all the edits and putting like the lyrics on top helps a lot more. In terms of like the TikTok actually getting views or something. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hit or miss. Like I said, it's just like the whole algorithm stuff. It's just kind of like, at least from my perspective, it's just kind of like the Wild West. Like you just kind of get lucky or you don't. Like, cause I've seen so many TikToks that are like, even like stuff that's not mine, even from sometimes like big artists, you see like a TikTok promoting a song. And it looks great, but it doesn't do well. And then I see like, iPhone video, like front camera of someone I've never heard of and has like 4 million likes. So
yeah, it also feels that like there's a sort of TikTok style specific like video where like I guess like the random clips, at least in my experience when I've seen them, it's like you might not necessarily know who the artist is or what they're about or whatever. So I find it's a lot easier when you're like not connected to just like scroll past. Whereas like maybe if it's like someone's just singing in their room to their phone, it's like, oh, like I kind of understand what that is, you know? So I think that maybe plays part of it. Do you feel like because earlier you were talking about how there's sort of maybe like an unedited rawness, unfilteredness to TikTok videos like that. Do you feel like music videos in the future will try to incorporate some of those elements to help I guess cross post, or is that sort of like a meta that you see like could be coming, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Potentially, I think that I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like music videos, like at their core, are like it's like a movie. Like there's
Yeah,
even if it's like low budget, like it's almost like for some reason the word like theatrical comes to mind. Is
for
like
sure.
it's kind of like you want an audience to like sit down and watch it. Like
Yeah,
you don't want it to be watched necessarily passively, like you would a
right.
TikTok or something. So that's kind of what I feel like a music video is at its core. But I mean, that's an interesting question, and I would be curious how that could be implemented. I mean, I think that like
Yeah,
if you want to have an artist or an artist's like story or experience come across authentically in a music video, there's ways to do that. But that's a good question. I don't know. It's kind of almost like, well, if you do it in like the TikTok way, then does it just become a TikTok? Like, is it really still a music video?
exactly.
So
I feel like they are completely different viewing experiences. It's kind of like watching almost like a movie at home versus the theater in a way.
yeah, that's a great analogy. I completely agree.
So something, just sort of moving on, something else we spoke about was that your music videos have a very run and gun aesthetic where you often shoot in public locations like a gas station or a park. And especially given that a lot of your clients are more underground artists, the style works really well for them because it's very true to where they are in their career and representative of underground culture. But I was curious, have you ever had any wild or unreasonably expensive requests from a client, either locations, props, or special effects? And how do you go about managing these expectations, even personally, when it comes to balancing budget and vision?
Yeah, so I mean, right off the back, this story pops into my head. It's kind of funny. I didn't end up shooting this video, but I had a guy hit me up one time and like he sent me a song and I really liked it and we were talking about what to do for the video. And this is probably like 2019 and he was like, I really want have you ever seen the movie Limitless?
Yes, of
Okay.
course, where they take like the pill and then their brain like becomes like 100% or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "I really want the music video to look like the movie Limitless." And I was like, "Okay,
Okay.
like what do you mean?" And he would send me clips. And I'm like, "Okay, bro, like I mean, like what kind of budget are we working with?" And he was like, "Well, I don't have a budget." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't know how we're going to do that then." So that stuff kind of happens maybe more often than one would think. It's just kind of I think people, especially newer artists, don't know how
Right.
much things cost or like
I think that's, yeah,
what goes
yeah.
into things. So you know, sometimes you just kind of have to explain that. What was the second part of your question?
Yeah, so like even personally, because I've shot music videos before. I have some experience with that, and
Yeah.
I found like the artist might have their vision, but even for myself as the person shooting the video, maybe even directing the video, I have my own ideas, and I was just curious like how you go about sort of managing. Okay, that's realistic. That I can't do. Like even on a personal level, and how do you maybe work around it?
I guess just try to be open minded. I think one of my strengths is that I'm like very open minded. So I
Yeah.
will a lot of times have my own ideas. But one thing I really love to implement into like anything I do creatively is like I don't know if it's like ADHD, but I don't like to like think about things too much. I'd rather just like
Right.
do it. So I try to be when I'm in that mindset, it's easy for me to work with an artist who is also a little flexible because we can just kind of pick a location or like even like rent you know like a peer space or something and we just figure it out. Because I just like I'm it's so hard for me to plan stuff sometimes. Like I just
Right.
if I try to sit down and plan, I just like I really don't want to. So
Yeah.
I look at videos as kind of like uh I guess like sculptors where they have like a slab of marble and you just kind of like you just figure it out. Like you just kind of find something in there. Um if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense, and it's funny because it kind of relates to my next question, which was, despite your run and gun style, your videos always look insanely high quality and professional, which is even funnier now that you say they're often unplanned, which makes me wonder. In your almost 10 years of experience, is there a secret sauce, either pre-production or post-production, that you would recommend to transform what would otherwise be just a regular shoot at a gas station to that next T.Aubrey music video level?
For me, I think it's just like doing a lot. Like you said, I've done a lot of music videos, and you learn so much.
Right.
Like, you learn so much without intending to. It just
Yeah.
a million things pop up and you learn for them. I mean, I wouldn't say there's anything really specific. I think for me, it's just kind of what I was talking about. I think it's just kind of letting go of like
Hmm.
the of trying to mold something perfect and letting it be what it is and figuring out how to craft what you have into something good for me. And that's really all I can say. Cause but I know people who like plan stuff to the T and like that's really how they
Oh
operate
yeah.
and make
I
incredible stuff. But I don't
like I
know.
have friends I have friends, sorry to cut you off, but I have friends in film school that will tell me they'll literally draw pictures of every single shot that is
Yeah.
going to be in their movie or in whatever they're shooting, and it's like planning. So I find it so interesting and so cool that like a big part of like your style seems to be, which I didn't even know until now, seems to be like this, the randomness of it and just
Yeah.
figuring out on the spot. And I think that's like almost refreshing in a way, and it's really interesting that you know that's how you do it. It's cool.
Yeah. I think, not to sound like pretentious or anything, but I think so much of life is like truly just chaos and random and not in like a horrible way, but like
Mm,
you just never know. Like anything can always happen and stuff really never, in my experience, goes to plan. So I feel like embracing that has let me thrive and just being able, like I've said, just like to like pull something out of what you have.
right.
Um, but I think, and that's like a reflection of like life, I feel like. So,
No, that's really cool. And this actually brings me to my last question. Last time we ended the interview talking about advice for people starting out in the media industry, where we came to the conclusion that everyone sort of has their own path and to be kind to yourself, which I found very important because I think it's so easy to get caught up in numbers. But it did make me think, how much do you weigh the success of a video in terms of a client's satisfaction versus the public's perception of the video?
good question. Um, I think that, that's a good question. Obviously, it's hard. This might be a long-winded answer. Obviously, it's
No problem.
hard to not care about numbers. Like,
Yeah,
it's so easy to say, "Oh, you shouldn't care about numbers, whatever, like, just do your thing, blah, blah, blah." That's so much easier said than done. Like, I do believe that, but at the same time, like, everyone's a human being, like, you want people to see your stuff. Me and you have had
of course.
conversations like this before. Um,
Absolutely.
but the other part of your question is interesting. I've never been asked or even thought about, like, obviously, I want the person I'm working with to be happy with the video.
For sure.
I kinda look at the video as, like, my thing, so
Hmm.
it's not that I don't care if the artist likes it or not, that's not what I'm trying to say, it's just that
Right.
there's been times where I've cut a video and, like, been done with it and sent it to an artist, and maybe they've had me make a lot of changes, and that's, by the way, like, totally fine, um, and I will always do that, but I don't I mean, I don't think I ever ended up liking that version more than the one
Hmm.
that I did. So,
Right.
from a personal standpoint, I do obviously care what the artist thinks, but I guess I put my own liking of the video above theirs a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and then so how your question was, how do I measure it? Uh,
Like the do you find the I guess the success of a video stops when you know the client's happy with it, or
oh,
does it continue into when that video is live, getting views, people are commenting on it? Like what ultimately is the most important? And I think in a way what you're saying is that it's if you like the video, which
yeah,
I think that's really cool.
I think that that's where it kind of ends for me, and, of course, I want the artist to like it, and then, of course, I also want it to do really well, but
Right.
I think I'm pretty good at, and it's funny, I talk to a lot of artists, obviously, all the time, and, like,
Yeah.
I know it's a struggle for a lot of artists. I find it very easy to, once I'm done with something, get pretty detached from it, and not in, like,
Yeah.
a, "I don't care anymore," but it's like, "Okay, I'm done." Uh, I've
And
done
there's a
what
lot
I've
of build up, like as you're working on this thing, like you've probably seen it 1,000
yeah,
times. So I think that that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Um, I just wanted to end off by saying that you're a big inspiration for me.
that's
And
nice.
whether you know it or not, a major reason why I am where I am today. So a big thank you to you for not only many years of hard work and dedication, but I think that, you know, you really deserve your flowers because you've really helped out a lot of artists, I think, in their careers. So shout out to you. And guys, please go check out Aubrey's channel. I'm going to leave it on the screen right here. T.Aubrey, absolute legend. For me, this was like a really incredible opportunity to have you on here. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you wanted to promote?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for all the kind words. That means a lot. For sure. Yeah, the only really other thing other than the YouTube channel is me and my friend, SpaceMan Zack, started like a little podcast channel where we talk about music. Not taking it super seriously at this point, but it's called the Hollow Place Podcast. We've got a couple videos up, so go check that out. Go listen to Zach's music. That would be awesome. And yeah, I think that's it.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, it's a tradition around here. I let the guests sign off, so I'll leave it to you.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. You guys are the best. Yeah.